Hey guys, Matt here at Brewery. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. This is my Baltic Porter. I called Yamato's Demise. It's definitely aging well. I've got it sporting in the BrewTubers glass. Thank you, Gary, for sending this glass to me. Happy to support. Happy to show off the logo. So it's not really keeping much of a head. This has died down in the few minutes that I was setting up my camera and everything. But it's got a very caramely, very malty presence to it in the aroma. And cheers. Oh yeah, that's nice. I didn't like this beer at first, but it's really coming together nicely over time. Brewed this back in February, and now it's got a nice little sweetness to it. It's not too overpowering. It's probably pushing the sweetness level that I like out of beers myself personally, but it's still very tasty. And it's got a lot of neat, like caramely and toffee notes in there. It's really cool. Yeah, it's very nice beer now. So I'll be hopefully next few days. I'm going to let it sit on the gas a little longer. I'll probably bottle some up and then send it out. So I got a packed agenda today, so I'm going to try to belt through this stuff so that the video is not ridiculously long. But I do have a lot of stuff I wanted to bring up. First and foremost, this past Saturday, May the 2nd, we did the AHA, American Homebrewers Association, Big Brew Day. BrewTubers hopped all over that and came out in full force. And I really, really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their Saturday and hanging out with one another. It was a lot of fun seeing all of you guys in person, well, virtually in person, and brewing with everybody. It was a lot of fun. It was a shame that I didn't get to join in on the April Big Brew Day, but this one was really cool. A lot of familiar faces there. Some of you I've been talking to regularly on Discord, others in Facebook and private messaging. And everybody's sort of doing their thing. And for the most part, a lot of folks were kind of similar schedule in their timeline brewing, because we were all pretty close together. We started the meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I think the Zoom wrapped up somewhere around 6. I unfortunately in that last hour or so got pulled away from Mr. Mom duties. You know, kids were running around and had to play referee, so I had to jump out early on the video. But I was there for most of the day, and I saw a lot of familiar faces. And I think at one point we had maybe 16 or 18 people in the chat. So when I put together my Brew Day video for my Munich Ellis, I made sure to encompass as much of that day as possible with all the BrewTubers. I did my best to try to keep it under an hour, but still keep as much footage as I could and try to get some FaceTime for everybody at least once or twice that was there. Some of you more than others because of being there from the very beginning, but try to get everybody some FaceTime and hope everybody appreciates that video. Sorry that it was so long, but it was really hard to get in. I think we had like 10 hours worth of video footage that I had to trim down into being under an hour. Very, very difficult when there's some really good content there and a lot of great conversations. More importantly, the memories of the day were just something that'll be stick with me. It was just a lot of fun. I look forward to doing more of that type of thing here in the near future. Speaking of, I heard some talk about it in the chat at some point. Of us doing some kind of a regular cadence on those kind of videos. I don't know if we're going to do them monthly or quarterly or what have you, but look forward to having more of those in BrewTubers, either on Zoom or in some other format. It'd be really cool to see everybody continue to get together like that and doing things together, whether it be brewing together or meetings or what have you. We talked about the malt experiment briefly in there, so just to kind of answer any questions, because I've gotten a bunch of them lately. We purposely are waiting on rolling this out with any dates until after the SJ Pour Challenge is completed or coming down to the end, because we don't want to step on that. We want to make sure that everybody that's in that has a chance to fully focus on that and do their best and move forward. Some people are rebrewing. You know, the round 2 beers I'm hearing coming to people's doorsteps now, so they're going to be doing reviews. And anybody that might think they're going to move on to round 3 are going to be rebrewing if they haven't already. So we just want to make sure that everybody has the time that they need to do that before you introduce something new. So we're going to do the malt experiment. We haven't quite decided what all the details of it yet. It may end up being some sort of a smash beer. We got to do something that's going to really accentuate the malts, because that's what this is going to be about. We want to see what different malts bring to the table. Different base malts is kind of the premise here. we'd probably use some kind of a clean yeast on it. But those details haven't been figured out yet. We're still going to work through that. We don't have any recipe figured out. We're just kicking around ideas right now. So stay tuned on that if you're interested. We will be sure to make sure that we communicate that out via either the website, through the Discord, or through these videos, or some format to let everybody know about it. But you can expect that it's not gonna happen until after the SG Port Challenge wraps up. So we're probably looking at a fall timeline or end of summer, to be honest. But more to come on that. So just stay tuned. I did hear that the NHC was canceled officially. So if you're interested in going to it, they are doing a virtual version of it in June. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the virtual. I've never actually been to a National Homebrew Convention myself, so I think I would imagine that this is not going to be anything like the real thing, but it is something. So, and it is $99, so it's fairly inexpensive for what you're getting from it. It's still supposed to have all those speakers there and a lot of good content. So I may join it. I'm not sure. They did release that for next year. It's going to be in San Diego, so that should be real cool for Ryan Rashan or Josh Hoover. Kevin's out that way too. He's not in California, but he's not far off. So we'll see. That's a bit of a hike for me. I was looking forward to driving to one and bringing back some tchotchkes. It could be a little more difficult to do that from a plane, but we will see. Other things that I have going on. So the Munich Helles is in the fermentation back there. It, again, was put on the yeast cake from the New Zealand Pilsner. That's what I brewed during the Big Brew Day. It fermented out to 1020 yesterday, I believe it was. I'm trying to think. Was it yesterday? Or maybe it was Monday. I don't remember now. It might have been Monday night, Tuesday morning. I noticed that I did a gravity sample and it was 1020. So I always like to, with these lagers, I like to go about halfway and then I ramp up the temperature. So I was fermenting at 55 degrees. I've raised it to 68 so it can finish out from the 1020 to get down to hopefully like a 1010 or 1012, I think range is what I expect from this beer. And then at that point, just going to let it kind of chill out for a couple more days before I keg it and start to lager it. Now, I am going to harvest this yeast. I really like this yeast, the WLP838. It's the Southern German lager yeast. I really like what it's done for all the lagers I've done on it, and I plan on saving it so that I can do other lagers here as well this year. Finally, I did a bulk order. Took about 2.5 weeks to get from More Beer, so I finally got it end of last week. If any of you guys are familiar with this, every now and then they'll do really good sales on bulk grains. Now, as you know, buying a sack of grains is very expensive, even in a local homebrew store. But if you buy a sack of grain offline, you have to pay a ridiculous amount of shipping. What More Beer does every so often is they offer you a chance to buy them in, all the time you can buy them in 1 pound increments. I think it's 2, 5, and 10. So sometimes they'll do sales on 10s where you can buy 5, 10 bags, 10 pound bags to equal up to 50 pounds, which you're essentially buying a sack of grains. And if you pepper in a few other things, you can get into the $59 range to make it free shipping, which is what I did. So I was really happy to see. I know Wally usually does the Viking when they do that sale, but they did it this time on Great Western. I really like Great Western for a maltster. I've used them plenty of times before. So I went ahead and bought their 2-row. Comes in, like I said, it comes in these 10-pound bags. So I bought 5 of them. And so I have essentially a sack of 2-row now for, what did I pay for that? $45, I think is what it came to total. And then I bought like some Gold Pels of Vienna, a couple other random things that I knew I was running out on or needed to equal up to the 59. I think I spent like 60 just to go over make sure it was free shipping. I think I bought some hops or something too. So whatever I could to do to round that out, and that was nice. The other thing I did was I bought myself a new keg. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I like the quality of this. I may buy another one. This is a 5-gallon ball lock keg. And it's the standard 11/16 posts on there, so it's really nice and universal. It's got the nice oval lid on it, and it's just the same as my other kegs. It's just new. And I bought the rubberized version. They have the rubberized version, and they have the kind with the stainless steel domed lid. I think the cost was the same. I like the rubber on there because I like to have a little bit of protection. My kegerator will handle 3 kegs barely. It just fits. So having that here helps to knock around the connections, and I don't have to worry about messing up any of my posts or messing up any of my quick disconnects. But 75 bucks. They were having a sale. I think you could buy a used one for 30 or 35. So they were having a good sale. So I went ahead and bought a new one. I've been wanting to have a new one for a while. The kegs I have were hand-me-downs. I've had them forever. I mean, I bought them, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. And I've been slowly replacing like gaskets on them and posts on them and things. And I just, I got to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to treat myself and buy a new one. I'll probably buy another new one. And, keep the old ones around just as a spare. But I can really only store 3 or 4 at a time in cool temperatures. So it's nice to have a spare around as well. So I believe that is it. Yes. So went through my list. Not sure when I'm going to brew again next. I got a couple things on the docket. Might do something within the next couple of weeks. I definitely have to wait until at least the Munichelis is out of that chamber. And everybody that showed up on Saturday, that was a lot of fun hanging out with all of you brew tubers. And we will see you guys on the next one. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. Take care. Have a good night. Cheers. All right. Now I know I've showed this before, but I'm going to go ahead and bottle some of what's left of my 4-poured beer. So I got the gas connected to half of the splitter here, and the other side is going into the beer gun right here, and the beer line I can get it out of here. It's just sitting in some star sand. Just go right here. Now I need to get a little container. So we only put a couple pounds of pressure on this keg. Should be pretty good. And get the beer flowing in the line first. Get all the star sand out of the line there and get some of the beer flowing in there. This way it's not, got a good fill on all these bottles. So I think I've showed you guys this before with the beer gun. You just 5 seconds, purge it with CO2, and then go ahead and get the beer flowing in there. Once the beer starts to submerge the wand, you can go ahead and move it up right here. This beer gun's pretty nice. Very minimal foam in there. And I already ramped up the carbonation on this a few hours ago to 15 psi. I like to do that right before I bottle. That way there's good carbonation in the end of there. Purge the top with CO2. And then we'll cap it. Should be about a dozen bottles left in this keg. So I'm trying to get that out of here and